Once upon a time, in a world long ago, when the earth was still young, there was a young human boy named Kael. He lived in a tribe of primeval people who hunted the massive beasts that roamed the land. Kael was still young, and he had joined his tribe on a hunt for the first time. The tribe was a sight to behold. They were nearly 3 meters tall, towering over Kael, who was still a young boy. Their broad shoulders and muscular arms hinted at the strength and power that they possessed. Their skin was rough and weathered, tanned from years spent under the unforgiving sun. They wore crude clothing made from dinosaur hides, feathers and plants, and their hair hung in wild, unkempt tangles. As Kael observed them from a distance, he could hear the grunts and growls that they used to communicate with each other. As they chased the massive creature through the dense forest, Kael suddenly found himself separated from the rest of his tribe. He called out for them, but his cries were lost in the roar of the hunt. As he stumbled through the forest, he realized with growing fear that he was completely alone. For days, Kael wandered through the vast forest, searching for his tribe and trying to survive on his own. As he trudged through the dense underbrush, Kael's fear turned to desperation. He knew that he needed to find food and water. While he was exploring the forest, he stumbled upon a small clearing. In the clearing, he saw a young dinosaur drinking from a crystal-clear stream, all on his own as well. The Triceratops was small, no bigger than a wolf, and had soft, round features that made it look cute and innocent. Its tiny horns and frill were not yet fully developed, making it clear that it was still in its early stages of life. Kael was scared at first, but he was thirsty and tired, and he had been walking for days without finding any water. He was afraid and alone, but his need for water was greater than his fear. He approached the stream cautiously, trying not to make any sudden movements. He saw the dinosaur, and at first he froze. The dinosaur looked up and noticed Kael's presence. It too was afraid, as it had lost its herd and was all alone. Kael and the dinosaur locked eyes, and in that moment they both understood that they had the same need. They were both thirsty, and they both needed water. Kael took a small step closer to the stream, and the dinosaur did not move. Kael realized that the dinosaur was not a threat to him, and he slowly moved closer to the water. The dinosaur watched Kael, but did not attack him. As Kael drank from the stream, he noticed that the dinosaur was doing the same thing. They were both afraid, but their need for water overcame their fear. They slowly started to build a bond, realizing that they were both lost and alone in this world of danger and uncertainty. The dinosaur was a friendly herbivore, and he and Kael quickly became good friends. They were both teenagers, and they shared a special bond. Although they could not speak the same language, they communicated non-verbally, with gestures and body language. Kael and his dinosaur friend spent endless hours exploring the dense forest, their bond growing stronger with every passing day. They shared many adventures together, often hiding in caves during fierce storms or evading the more dangerous predators that roamed the land. During these moments, they both felt scared and alone, but their friendship gave them the courage to face their fears. Another time, they spent an entire day playing together, chasing each other through the forest and splashing in the streams. Kael laughed as his dinosaur friend playfully sprayed him with water, and he felt grateful for the moments of pure joy that they shared. But there were also times of fear and danger. Once, Kael and his dinosaur friend roamed through the dense forest when they suddenly heard the loud roar of a fierce predator. They both froze, knowing they were in great danger. Kael's heart pounded in his chest as he tried to think of a way to escape. Without warning, the predator lunged at them, and Kael and the dinosaur sprinted away as fast as they could. The predator was hot on their heels, its powerful strides closing in on them with every passing second. Kael felt a surge of fear and desperation, knowing that they couldn't outrun the predator forever. Just as he was about to give up hope, he spotted a small cave in the distance. He grabbed the dinosaur's horns and pulled him towards the cave, hoping it would offer them some shelter. As they entered the cave, Kael could hear the predator's growls getting louder and closer. He quickly scanned the cave, searching for a way to defend themselves. He spotted a pile of rocks and boulders near the entrance and knew what he had to do. With his instincts kicking in, Kael started flinging those rocks towards the entrance of the cave. For the first time, Kael caught a glimpse of the predator through the darkness. It was a massive beast, with razor-sharp teeth, claws as long as his arms, and glowing eyes that burned with a fierce hunger. Kael felt his whole body shaking as the predator roared so loudly that the cave echoed with its deafening sound. The giant hunter was too big to get into the cave. They felt safe, for the moment at least. Kael and the dinosaur huddled together in the darkness, waiting and listening for any sign of the predator. Their hearts were pounding with fear, but their bond gave them strength. They waited in the tense silence. They could hear a violent storm slowly building up. Kael noticed that his dinosaur friend was shivering with cold. They huddled together in the cave, trying to stay warm, and Kael could feel his own body shaking as the storm raged on outside. Kael quickly gathered some dry wood and made a fire, and the dinosaur's eyes widened in fear as he watched the flames dance. The little dinosaur was afraid of the fire, but Kael made him feel comfortable around it. They sat by the fire for hours, sharing their food and watching the stars twinkle above them. One day, while they were drinking from a lake, Kael noticed something unusual on the shore. There were human footsteps. Kael's heart leapt with joy, thinking that he had finally found his tribe. Kael decided to follow the footsteps, and his dinosaur friend followed him. As they walked, Kael's excitement grew, but so did his doubts. What if his tribe rejected him because of his failure during the hunt? What if his parents wouldn't understand and decided that his little scaly friend was a threat and could provide important food needed for the tribe to survive? Despite his doubts, Kael kept following the footsteps, and his dinosaur friend followed him. He had grown significantly larger during their adventures and made thunderous sounds with every step. It reminded Kael of the loud rumblings of the sky during a storm, and he finally found the perfect name for his dinosaur friend: Thunder.